right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2018 University Athletic Association Championships. I'm John Schwarz, bringing you play-by-play coverage of Case Western Reserve University here and the beautiful Veal Center, the host of the 2018 UAA Championships, as they have just gotten underway this morning with the early start to the women's long jump. You can see the center there in front of you and a full day of events coming up. It'll be a bit of a slower start to the day with a few of the field events early on. 11 o'clock, the long jump. For the women, 12 p.m. will be the weight throw and the high jump. 1 o'clock, the men's long jump, and then we'll begin with the running events with the hurdles at 2 p.m., and that will continue through approximately 6 p.m. or so as we wrap the first day up. Again, we'll be joined shortly here by Nate Wahner, who'll be helping out with the broadcast. Nate, a former all-UAA runner, UAA champion, and he'll be providing a little bit of analysis here as well as we get our first look at the long jump there on the far side of the Veal Center. And our first set of competitors out there today, the long jump will be 2 heats. And the first heat is out there already. Again, a bit of an earlier start than initially planned for the long jump today, as they were hoping to get the long jump finished up before the start of the events on the actual track. There you see the long jump pit. A cloudy day in Cleveland today, but a little bit warmer than typical for this time of year. Temperature is probably going to be in the 50s outside by the end of the day. The perfect temperature here in the Veal Center. I believe this is Rachael Novick from Wash U who is about to jump. Novick comes in with a seated mark of 4.99 meters. And that was Brandeis's Kayla Fahey with the jump, I believe. Pardon me, that was Jessie Moore from Brandeis. Jessie Moore. Again, we're going to try to bring you the best we can, a little bit of every event across the track here over the course of the next 2 days. And that was Shannon Carroll on that last jump. You can see that's Chris Kelly down there trying to clear a little bit of traffic. As Autumn Hare from Carnegie Mellon able to land a nice jump there on her second attempt of the day. Nate Wahner joining me, former Case Western Reserve University sprinter extraordinaire. Nate, welcome. Again, just one event on the track here right now. Well, Nate, first day of the UAA today. Mindset of the team coming into this first day, really any team, not just Case Western Reserve, but is it, obviously as a sprinter, try to get as many guys in the finals, I assume, that the score is almost irrelevant after this first day because so much is affected by the second day.
Yeah, in the sprints and mid-distance events, it's going to be about getting people in position to score tomorrow. Another really big thing is going to be putting points on the board today. Women have the weight throw, pole vault, long jump. Those are events where you can start to put points on the board and put a solid chunk in to get ahead and make day 2 possible for a big final push for the win.
Yep. By the way, that jump by Hare, 5.17 meters, and I believe that's our long mark so far. The second heat of the long jump is going to be the group that comes in with the higher marks. So that'll be interesting to see as well. Not to say that someone from the first group couldn't win the event, but coming in, actually that second group, a little bit of a more accomplished group so far this year at least.
Yeah, you can always win or put points on the board out of that first flight or slower heat, and that's something you see all the time. A little bit harder to go for the win, not as many people there pushing you, but in the field events, it's all about getting a nice push in there and just going for it.
That was Rachael Willard from Case Western Reserve on the jump. See her walking off the pit there. By the way, we thank our athletes there for taking a seat. That certainly helped the camera angle there. Just a nice event. You get 7 of the 8 UA schools, the 7 that compete in indoor and outdoor track. Brandeis, Carnegie Mellon, Case Western Reserve, NYU, Wash U, Emory. Who am I missing? Chicago. This will be Brianna Yee up. By the way, that jump from Rachael Willard, 4.82 meters. We're going to do our best to relay marks from the field events to you. Obviously, as we take another look at that jump by Brianna Yee. And something I should probably preface now by saying we're going to do our best throughout this meet to try to get you as much action as we possibly can. 4.68 meters, by the way, on that jump from Yee. One thing to keep in mind, we are going to try to get certainly every track event, as much of the different field events as we can. We know a lot of people at home have very specific rooting interests towards a member of the family or two, and we'll certainly try to get a little bit of everybody. That was Gabrielle Davis of Emory University on that last jump. Officiating crew down there at the long jump and triple jump throughout the weekend. That'll be Joe McGill, Rod Thompson, and Chuck Larissel. By the way, that jump for Davis was 5.04 meters. That was WashU's Rachel Novick. As we take another look at that one. Nate, real quick, take us through the long jump here. It's 3 jumps in the prelims for each athlete, right? And then the longest jumps advance to the finals?
Yeah, so it's 3 in prelims and then 3 in the finals. And you have, I believe, 7 make it to finals. So you have 6 scorers, and then they bring 1 extra with you to keep it competitive so that nobody's complacent when they get into finals. Because in other events, a lot of times you'll have people, they'll make it to finals, and then they just take the point and focus on other events. You bring in that 7th person, keep it competitive so nobody can be complacent.
And just because you get into finals doesn't mean you're guaranteed a point either, which is certainly an important factor to this. You have to, as you said, continue to compete throughout the event. So a lot of times these competitors will be competing in other events throughout the meet, so they'll be doing the sprint, certainly the triple jump, a lot of them.
Yeah, you'll see these jumpers in high jump, long jump, maybe pole vault, and definitely a bunch of the other sprints.
That was Shannon Carroll of Case Western Reserve University with a solid jump there. We'll get a mark for you here in just a second as you see the replay. There's the look of a far stretch there. One of our, I believe it's 5 different camera angles, 6 different camera angles we'll have throughout the event. Great job done by the Media Vision crew. Trying to bring you the best coverage that we possibly can throughout the weekend. Next jumper up, that's Hare, who of Carnegie Mellon, we believe so far the leader in the event with a jump of 5.17 meters, and we'll see where she stands after that last one. And it sounded like that was a good one.
Yeah, it was a big cheer over there.
And it looks like we'll get a measure of 5.22 meters, which I believe is the new high. Very happy Hare, which, by the way, may also be the name of the meet so far. Again, mention that you can find someone out of the first heat that potentially could win the event. And again, that mark of 5.22 carries over to the finals. So important there as well. Coming into the event, there are only a few UAA athletes who have had a higher mark than that this season. Mary Martin of Chicago, 5.36 meters, as the jump there by Kayla Fahey. 5.30 meters for Alicia Harris so far entering the meet. 5.22 for Elise Chow. 5.25, excuse me, for Elise Chow of Wash U. Laura Darcy of Chicago, the leader in the event, coming in, preeminent favorite, 5.50 meters. That one, by the way, for Fahey, 4.93 meters. Eka Jose of Wash U, 5.43 meters. So that jump by Hare puts her in pretty good position coming out of the first heat.
Yeah, that's definitely up there in fighting position for scoring.
Rachael Willard with the jump. Might have been a little bit shorter than her previous one.
Last year, the winner of the long jump went 5.33, and second was 5.21, so that could put her in a podium position coming out of that first flight.
That jump for Willard, 4.72 meters. And at the very least, that jump should also put her in a scoring position, you would think. Probably anything over 5 meters, I would think, would score at the meet.
Typically, yeah, but as you were saying from the results so far this year, 5 meters might not be enough to score. You might have to be 5.2 or higher.
That was Brianna Yee. And I believe, yep, fault there on the jump. '18 UAA Championships here at Case Western Reserve University. Thank you for joining us once again. Nate, you competed in this event, but remind me if I'm incorrect here, but I don't think you were ever a part of a host event here, right? Was that before your time?
No, I never hosted. The last time this was here was 5 years ago, the year before I arrived at Case, and we were supposed to host last year, but we ended up at Brandeis, another great facility. But this is a special event to be able to host, and it's a lot of fun to be here and be able to commentate with you, John, and do this.
Well, we're certainly appreciative of your expertise, and again, first day of the event here today. Points certainly matter when it comes down to it. But again, these are events where early on you could get an advantage here. If you could get 2 or 3 people up in the top 5 in the long jump, you might have a chance to take an early lead heading into the sprints on the final day. And typically, as we said, if you're successful in the jumps, in the horizontal jumps, that's usually something that translates over to sprints as well.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be very strong and powerful to be able to, excel in the jumps, and you got to have some speed. So those all correlate to other field events or sprints that you'll see on the track later today.
Yep. Long jump there, but a fault there for WashU's competitor, I believe Rachael Novick. Take a look at our straightaway here at the Veal Center, where the sprints will be run later on and the hurdles. Great crew worked throughout the day yesterday to get everything together. Really a facility that is one of the best, I would say, school-owned facilities in Division III. The track redone 2 years ago, as the last jump from Kayla Fahey at 4.81 meters, I believe, which puts her in second place. Or pardon me, her second jump, I should say, is 4.81 meters. With the track redone a few years ago, get the color to match a little bit more that navy blue of the university as opposed to the old royal blue that used to be the university's colors. You can see it's a multiple use facility, so there are basketball courts on the interior of the track that serve as rec courts for the university. They can also be set up as tennis courts, volleyball courts. In fact, when the UAA championships are here for volleyball, they're hosted on these courts partially. Take a look at the far side of the facility. We have the throwing pit. You can see the net facing us. They'll be throwing out towards that back wall. The high jump area is actually right in the front of your screen there. And then the pole vault will be contested kind of right next to the high jump there. You'll be able to see it a little bit better once it gets going. It's a 200-meter track, flat track. Straightaways on the longer side, I would say, although probably pretty standard for an indoor track. Tight turns. But that'll be something interesting to see how that plays out in this meet, Nate. And we'll probably talk a little bit more as this goes on and once the running events start. But if you're NYU, which probably has a lot of their meets, I would imagine, at the Armory, or if you're Emory, which competes a lot at whether it's Clemson or whether it's out at
the Crossplex
at the
Birmingham.
Yep, where the national championships will be this year. You're not necessarily running on a 200-meter flat track a lot during the year. In fact, I think for Emory, this will be their first meet on a flat track this season. So that may be something that, whether it's the sprints or the distance events, might actually come into play a little bit.
Yeah, running on a bank track versus a flat track, there's some pretty big differences for the sprints and even out into the distance events. You have to run a little bit different, lean differently. It's just different feel to the track, and running on that flat track with these sharp turns can be very difficult your first time on it. I'm sure they were out here yesterday getting some hard turns in and trying to figure it out a little bit.
Yep. All the teams did come in yesterday. They had practice sessions throughout the day, although, again, there's not a ton you can do on a track to practice when there are 7 other teams on there with you, but certainly got a chance to get a feel for the track. One of the things, and I was a distance runner, not a very good one, but a distance runner in high school and ran at the Armory in New York City. And one of the things I liked about that bank was that it almost gives you a little propulsion coming around it if you run it right. Really kind of, you can really work those turns, where here, you're going to have to really manage your turns a little bit more. You don't get that extra boost coming off of them, and typically the times will be a little bit slower because of that on a non-bank track, but certainly not something that is unmanageable or something that nobody is, that these runners aren't used to, having run at least at some point over their running careers.
Yeah, when you're on that bank, a lot of people call it like the slingshot when you come off the turn, and you really can just shoot down the straightaways, making them feel even a little bit shorter. Running on a bank track like the Armory is a very different feel, and it's a little bit quicker, so it can be kind of a difficult transition down to this flat.
It always made me think of that scene in Apollo 13 where they talk about landing or kind of shooting around the moon, and they had to use the moon's gravity to land the it's a very Case Western Reserve conversation we're having here. But again, it's one of those where you can use the gravity in your favor if you're a runner on that bank track. You just don't have that advantage here, as you see some of the Case Western Reserve University distance runners out there. We are in a little bit of a lull here as they get set for the second heat of the 2018 long jump here,
Yeah.
the women's long jump. So we're waiting for that to begin and gives us a little time to chat too. Nate, you were probably about as in-depth as any non-coaches, and maybe more than some coaches, in terms of knowing the times, knowing who's out there, knowing the different schools. Taking a look, and we'll start with the men's side here. Who do you think the early favorites are to win the men's meet here this weekend?
To win the men's side, you have to talk about WashU. They're a powerhouse. They win a lot of conference meets, and they're always in contention. Emory is usually somebody that can sneak up there, and they're usually fighting for a top 3 position. Chicago as well indoors is a very strong field team where you'll see them make probably a big impact today. Carnegie's been a big factor the past 2 years. They've been very competitive on the men's side. I believe they won 3, maybe 4 titles in a row. So it'll be interesting to see what's happening this weekend. See who's out there and who's got the horses to do it.
Absolutely. And on the women's side, who do you see as being factors?
The favorite on the women's side for the last 4 or 5 years has been WashU. They've been very difficult to beat. Chicago's usually up there. Carnegie's competitive, and so is Emory. So I think it'll be pretty competitive all around. WashU and Emory I would say, are probably the favorites. But again, this is all on paper. You got to see what actually happens in the races this weekend, and anybody can sneak out a couple races, and then you get those going, you start rolling, and potentially win the meet.
For sure. And now, if you're looking at how those teams are going to score points, typically you see WashU really rack up the points. Not that they haven't had good sprinters, but typically you see them rack them up on the mid-distance and above, whereas Emory typically will go with the sprints, kind of the long sprints and below. Sometimes it comes down to who can get the most points on those other events, or who doesn't have the events that other schools are going to steal points from in that, too, when it comes to those. And that's where I think we've seen Chicago come in. Not that they haven't been a good team on the women's side, but usually they're solid in the field events. Usually they have one of the best distance runners in the country, certainly, in Kaya Kurtenbach, who can get some points there. And really, Chicago has been a team that has threatened over the years, and again, on the women's side, could be very strong this year as well. Last year, just to recap you, it was Washington University with 159 points on the women's side that really ran away with the meet. Chicago was second with 99, Emory third with 85.
Yeah, WashU was very strong last year. They had a very strong senior class of sprinters. They've brought back a lot of their distance runners this year, so they're extremely strong there, and they're also very good at sprinting in general. You'll see them still be a factor even after graduating such a large class that won them a national title indoors last year. So it'll be interesting to see some younger people step up for WashU in the sprints and see what happens this weekend.
Nate, Case Western Reserve 49 points last year, finished 4th in the standings. They are going to be hurt a little bit, though, by the preeminent favorite in both throws. Or entering the meet, the favorite in both rows, Cassandra Laus, out for the meet, probably done at least for the rest of the indoor season. Got hurt last week at a meet at Mount Union. She was a returning all UAA most valuable performer in field events. Won the 20-pound weight throw last year. In fact, it was a Case Western Reserve sweep in the 20-pound weight throw on the women's side. Laus, Omalabu, and Nimi Gupta took the top 3 there. She also won the shot put, and Shannon Carroll finished second. So, that opens up some doors here for some other teams to sneak in there to get points, but also some other Case Western Reserve athletes where typically the women's side, they are very strong in the throws to maybe sneak up there and get some extra points.
Yeah, it definitely does. I remember last year one of the problems that Coach Schmull had was having 4 athletes in the top 4 of the weight throw, and having to make decisions there about who to bring, because you're only allowed to enter 3 per event.
And in fact, by the way, you're seeing someone who could benefit from the shot put now with Melissa Quellar up there. She has certainly a strong chance to score in some of the throwing events, and she's kind of in the center of your screen right now. A couple of the other Case Western Reserve throws there, Tyler Bushman, Alex Nizvisky, Skylar Wattis, a freshman who I think is going to be a little bit more of a factor in the outdoor season with the javelin. I believe that's D. Ghost, who has his back to us now. A couple football players in there. In fact, we got a couple. We have about half of the offensive line for the Spartans right there.
Yeah. Great guys. Call themselves the Large Men's Club. Always making great T-shirts and having a great time.
Well, that throwing program has come a long way in the last couple of years, too, here at Case Western. Really solid coach there, and Rocco Matolo, who comes over from John Carroll, where he was an All-American thrower and has done a really good job training both the men and the women in that program. There you see the throwing cages. Everyone's starting to get warmed up there for the throwing events, which are set to begin in just a little bit. The 20-pound weight throw for the women will begin at noon, along with the high jump for the men. Again, the weight throw a little bit more wide open right now. All of a sudden, maybe some room for Nimi Gupta to sneak up there. And, you know, certainly after a third-place finish from last year, she'll be the top returning finisher from last year's meet. Again, running events will start approximately 2 p.m. Usually this is a meet that stays on schedule pretty well, so we don't expect there to be any major delays really in it. It's, again, a pretty easy meet to keep on schedule, especially day 2. Usually that second day goes by pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, so does the first day is a little bit slower starting out, and then it speeds up once the running events start. Everything's pretty tight together, and meet stays on schedule and flies by. But you'll see a lot of these athletes today, they're going to need all the rest they can get between those events, and with a set schedule, it's pretty nice. You're not in any rush to, you know, move on. You know how much time you're going to have to rest and recover, so it's always great.
When you get into this first day, obviously you're running a lot of events, you're competing in a lot of different events. If you're, you know, again, here at this meet, especially if you're doing the short sprints, or really even some of the distance runners are doubling, tripling up in some of the events this weekend. Attitude of a competitor going in here, do you try to conserve the first day? Do you try to go all out, just get into the finals and worry about tomorrow? What's the mindset typically going in?
I think it depends where, you know, on the person and where where you see yourself ranked and what you know you can do. Some people you'll see, they'll go out and they'll race to be in that top 2, top 3 position. You'll probably see the Brandeis runner, Gord, try to get out there and either get himself up into the first or top 2 position to get a good lane tomorrow for the 4 and the 2. That's always a factor in the sprint, so you're going to want to get out there and run hard. In the, you know, the 800, even some of the 400 event races, you're going to see people get out there and they're just going to aim to make finals, and just get out there to race and be competitive tomorrow. But you're definitely going to see people out there, you know, conserving energy in certain places to put it maybe a little bit more out today to get a better seed position or even squeak into the finals to steal points.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break here for a second before the women's long jump starts. Again, the second heat of that will begin shortly. We'll be back with that. The 2018 UAA Indoor Track and Field Championships coming back in just a minute.
Do you have any questions? That's what I heard, yes. 7 in the finals, all right? Okay? So we'll turn right over again as soon as we get the numbers ready. We'll let everybody know, maybe a few minutes warm up again if we need to. All right? Good luck.
Hey, we're going to attack and drive out. Come on. Let's go, man. Start it up. Hey, we need one, then we can go.
Hello and welcome back once again. John Schwarz here alongside me, Nate Wahner, as the second heat of the long jump begins. An early mark here for Carnegie Mellon's Deb Banja. She hit 5 meters. I believe this is Laura Darcy of the University of Chicago, who's the UAA leader coming into the event. 5.50 meters. She readies for her jump. And that one is good. As we take another look at Darcy's jump. Here in the second heat, as that one was 5.35 meters for Darcy, so she becomes our early leader. Again, it'll be 3 jumps here in this second heat, and then we'll move along to the finals where each competitor who advances, the top 7, will get 3 more jumps. That was Eka Jose of Wash U. It'll be Mary Martin of Chicago, Deb Banja of Carnegie Mellon, Alicia Harris of Chicago, Elise Chow of Wash U, Laura Darcy of Chicago, Eka Jose of Wash U, Rebecca Bondi, who's up now, of Emory University, and Skylar Braga of Case Western Reserve. It was a 4.98 meter jump for Jose. That was Bondi from Emory. A good jump there. Take a look. Nate, again, talk some strategy here on these early jumps. Is the goal just to try to get one to land and then try to improve your jump from there? Do you go for a big jump early? Does it just depend on the athlete and how they're feeling in the day?
I would say definitely depends on the athlete. A lot of athletes will probably throw their first one, just really go for it, see how they're feeling. Second one, they'll maybe be a little more conservative, and then if they have fouled the first 2, they're definitely on that third one going to be a little more conservative and try to get a mark.
That was Skylar Braga, Case Western Reserve University athlete there.
And as we were saying earlier with these jumps, their marks do carry over into finals. So, you know, laying it all out there now and going for those big jumps is beneficial. There's no reason to hold back and wait. So you're going to see them really go for it and try to hit good marks now and get into finals and see if maybe that'll even carry them over to a podium position later.
Second jump for Mary Martin of Chicago. By the way, Braga's jump was 4.81 meters. And now it's the mark where you land that's the closest to the board, correct? So yes. You want to try to get your feet down and go forward as opposed to come backwards and end up with your backside in the sand, I guess, right? You want to try to go as far forward as you can, keep that momentum going.
You'll even see sometimes the officials are measuring 2 marks to see because they're not sure which one is closer to the board.
5.13 meters for Martin on that one. This is Banja. 5 meters on her first jump. That one might have been a little shorter. Yeah, there you go. It was a good fall. She just didn't get as much distance on the actual jump, I don't think. We'll get a mark here in a second. That is 4.92 meters. Not as good as her previous jump. This is Alicia Harris of Chicago. Entered the meet with a seated mark of 5.30 meters. Good jump there. A lot of height. Harris was 4th in the UAA coming in. She's the reigning UAA champion, won the event last year with a jump of 5.33 meters. That one, 4.82. And a foul there. So that will get swept away without a measurement for Elise Chow of Washington. And our current leader, Laura Darcy, steps up. 5.35 meters on her first jump for the Chicago athlete. And that one will count. We'll check a measurement on it. See a couple of the coaches getting everything set up for the high jump, which will begin at noon. That was 5.20 meters for Darcy, so not her best mark of the day, but she still leads with that 5.35. Eka Jose of WashU. Good jump there. Seemed excited about it. And it's a jump of 5.2. Rebecca Bondi of Emory. And that's a jump of 5.14, a little short of her mark of 5.3 meters. Skylar Braga, Case Western Reserve's representative in this second heat. We'll see what that one scores out at. Looked better than her 4.81 on her first jump. Might be in the low fives. Yeah, she looked happy with that one. Five meters even, so that might put her right on the edge of getting into finals. She might need to better that jump by a little bit. Back to the top, last jumps for everyone. This is Mary Martin, who has a 5.13 meter jump already in the books. Might have bettered it with that one. Sounds like she did. .29 meters, so that should assure her a spot in the finals here in just a bit. Deb Banja, who has a 5 meter mark in her name, she might need to do a little bit better than that. And she fouls, and so that might create an opening here at the bottom.
Yeah, it looks like right now the 7th mark is 5.08 meters out of the first flight. That might be the last mark in. So these competitors at the end of the flight have a chance to jump up there and maybe try to steal a spot.
Chow needed a good one there, and I think she might have gotten it. By our unofficial tally, I believe Chow was on the outside looking in. And she now has a 5.16, so I believe that might just get her into the finals. Again, we'll have those official competitors here. There'll probably be another brief break, I imagine, in between this heat and the next one. Might give us a chance to, well, they might get those finals started right about noon when some of the other events are going on as well. This is Darcy. Darcy, the leader, with a 5.35 meter jump on her first attempt. And it sounds like that one might be the new mark to chase. Yep, 5.45 meters. So she got an extra 1/10 of a meter on that jump. And she remains the leader. She's bolstered that a little bit. This is Eka from WashU. And I believe a foul on that one. But she should be safely in with a jump of 5.2 meters already. Let's see. Yep. It's our official down there, Rod Thompson, who raises the red flag. Again, white flag means the jump was good. You record the mark. You send the measurers out to get it. Red flag means foul was committed. This is Rebecca Bondi. Bondi had a 5.3 meter jump already. And so, again, I believe she is safely in the finals. Might have left that back foot a little further back, didn't quite get it around, and I think that cost her a couple meters on that. No, I should say a couple parts of a meter. No, I take that back, 5.35 meters on that, so that'll get her mark a little higher. She's in the competition now. Last jump of the round, Skylar Braga. And we'll get a measurement on it. She was looking to better her mark of 5 meters, trying to earn a place in the final 7. .04 meters, and I don't think that'll be enough to do it. And so now we'll wait to see who we have in the finals of the event. Again, some other events just about to get going here. At noon, it'll be the weight throw, the women's weight throw, men's high jump. High jump will unfold right in front of us, and that's always a fun one to watch.
Yeah, normally these guys are jumping later in the meet. Most times, as we saw a couple weeks ago at the Case Western Carnegie Duel, they were the last event going, and that's something commonly seen. They're going down towards the end of the meet. So for them, this is a little different. They get to go into this probably more fresh, and get to do it first event for the men.
Well, and a lot of these guys, as you mentioned, are used to doing multiple events. You're typically not just a high jumper. In fact, the two Case Western Reserve competitors are going to be, we'll see in a couple of events here, or two of the three, I should say, in Dom Otto and Kai Fletcher, who could be competing in maybe 3-4 different events throughout the course of the week. And in fact, they're both multiple event athletes. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to watch how this plays out, but you get a fresh jump here and certainly a chance to make an impact in an event where maybe you're trying to conserve a little bit of energy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think these guys will be trying to conserve too much energy first event. They're going to want to go for it, start the weekend right. And if you get a couple good jumps in, that can really energize you for the rest of the weekend. Starting off with a personal record or even maybe sneaking in and stealing a few points from another team can be a great motivation.
Well, for sure. And this is a chance to do it. As our first look at the vertical jumps. The favorite coming into the event, Collis McKenzie of Wash U, who has cleared the bar at a height of 1.97 meters today, or I should say this year. Top three are McKenzie, William Lee of NYU at 1.94 meters, Kai Fletcher of Case Western Reserve at 1.91 meters. To give you an idea, in the men's high jump, the bar will start at 1.76 meters. It'll increase by 0.05 of a meter until it gets to 2.01 meters, and then it will start going up from there by 0.03 of the meter.
Yeah, and right now there's nobody over 2.01 meters on the season, but that's something we could definitely see happen today. Conference always brings out the best in competitors, especially in the UAA. This is a very, very competitive conference, and being able to take home a title says a lot about your team that year and the strength you have.
Yep. One of the interesting things, the heights and the starting heights and the progressions are determined in the UAA coaches meeting for both the high jump men's and women's and the pole vault men's and women's. And listening to yesterday and how those numbers come to be, in case you're curious, they try to start with a height that, again, one that could, the majority of the field entered in, it could clear and that could get them into the finals. But also, they want to make sure that they're on track when they do those progressions to get people to a mark that they think will get them into the NCAAs as well.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you get to kind of the least mark that you would have to clear that you think would get yourself into the NCAA championship. So that's how you get to those numbers, in case you're curious. There's no set amount per se.
Yeah, and right now 2.05, 2.04 is about the cutoff for NCAAs. So that second progression after 2.01 will be when they're starting a challenge for that NCAA mark.
Yep. And NCAAs for indoors, for individuals, I believe, top 16 competitors, right?
Top 15 men, top
15.
17 women.
Like I said, I did the average of the two in my head, Nate, without even knowing. But, it'll be interesting to see certainly some competitors here. And again, from the Case Western Reserve perspective, probably two of the best multi-event competitors in the conference right now, in Dom Otto and Kai Fletcher, who will have an opportunity here in the high jump. But those are two guys who really are new on the scene of the multi-event, and they're right on the cusp, maybe with another event or two, of trying to get into the NCAAs, not maybe just in an individual event, but also potentially in the multi-event. So,
yeah, those two both competed in a multi-event 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and they both did pretty well, and they're both young. Kai being a freshman and Dom Otto being a sophomore. A lot of room for improvement and time to grow. Those two could be huge factors later on in their careers here, scoring in, 1, 2, maybe 4 or 5 events when it comes down to it.
Lee, who is currently seated second in the event of NYU, won the high jump last year with a mark of 1.89 meters. Reid Farber from Carnegie Mellon, who comes in with a mark of 1.90 meters this year. He finished second with a jump of 1.89 meters last year. Won a jump off against Mark Franklin of Brandeis, who I don't believe is competing this year. But again, some preseason times that certainly could potentially do as we watch some more of the warm-ups there. Again, what great camera views. Thanks, as always, to the Media Vision crew who has done a fantastic job setting up this event. Really, some unique views with those side views. I was talking, I forgot who about this yesterday, but someone about this yesterday. You don't get this side view a lot when you're watching meets of the high jumps, and there's another one. Again, we're just watching the warm-ups now on the bungee. Emory head coach John Curtin looking on. Well, with a little bit of a lull here in the events, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back to you in a few minutes, bring you the finals of the women's long jump, which should start shortly. We'll also keep you going with the men's high jump, which will begin, and the weight throw, which should all get started in about 5 minutes or so here. Again, we'll be back with you in a couple minutes.
You mean noon? You said 10 o'clock. I was like, did we go back in time? Then why does my ankle hurt?
I looked at it was 4.9.
It's only 4 centimeters.
I know, but still, like, I know what it was. Yeah.
Springs is not good. Yeah, I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You said the order. Yeah.
Got the order? The change is down at my end, okay? All right, ladies, green light.
So we can each have a long jump. I think that's my place. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Ekka's on deck and Alicia's on hold.
And welcome back once again. John Schwarz alongside me, Nate Wahner, as the finals of the women's long jump underway. This is Carnegie Mellon's Autumn Hare. Jump of 5.22 meters coming out of the first heat of the final, of the prelims. So again, marks from the first heats do carry over into the second round. You'll get 3 more jumps to try to better that mark. Right now, our leader coming in is Darcy of Chicago, who had a jump of 5.50 meters coming into the meet, but is at 5.45 here. That was Autumn Hare, who will better her mark slightly by 0.02 of a meter to 5.24 meters. Then she came into the meet with a jump of 4.86 meters is her best, so really nice improvement. And that was Washington University's Eka Jose, who's at 5.2 meters entering the finals.
Yeah, as you said, Autumn Hare is having a great day, and those are the kinds of things you can see at conference, somebody showing up and jumping way further than they have all season. So there's just another energy that conference brings out of you.
5.05 meters there, by the way, for Jose, so that's worse than her jump entering her final 3. You know, one of the things with Hare here is that if she could get in the top group, I believe Deb Banja missed out on it, but she was someone who I probably projected to be in that top half, so maybe some points get made up if you're Carnegie Mellon with Jose up there instead. I believe jumper for Chicago there, yeah, Alicia Harris. And that's 5.01 meters. And here's your leader, Darcy. Oh, pardon me, that is Mary Martin of Chicago instead, excuse me. 5.29 meter jump, her first time around. Nate, you're kind of a minor celebrity around these parts. Rebecca Bondi fouled on that one, the Emory competitor. You're just waving at people, shaking hands, kissing babies. You got a jacket just now hand-delivered to you.
Did go here for 4.5 years, so I do know a few people around these parts.
Don't be modest here. Now I believe this if I stand to be corrected, is Laura Darcy, our leader at 4.5 meters coming into the finals. First jump for her, if I'm not mistaken. This might be her second already. Nope, not happy with that, so that'll be a foul. But she can sit on her mark for a little bit here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she also is jumping at the end of the flight too here because she had the furthest mark in prelims. So that gives her a big advantage moving forward. She'll be able to see what everybody else is doing and gauge what she has to do when it comes down to that last jump to potentially win if somebody is to move up and knock her down from her leading spot right now.
This is Elise Chow of Washington University. Her second jump of the finals, sitting on a 5.16 meter mark. Getting some coaching there. That's 5.05 meters for Chow. Back to Autumn Hare, who has had a fantastic day for Carnegie Mellon so far in the long jump. Sitting on a 5.24. She had a 5.22 meter jump. Again, came into the meet with just 4.86 meters is her season best. Jumping well today. And Nate, one of the things, again, with the long jump, I'm still a relative novice, but you want to hit the board, correct? And then you want to hear that sound. That's one of the things the official is listening for, I assume, right?
Yeah, they're definitely listening for the board. You know, you can be well in front of the board and not hit it, and that's okay. But if you step over, even just a hair over, that'll be a foul. So there's some strategy to it in terms of how many steps you're taking backward and how many feet you are from the board to try and make sure you're getting as much of that board as possible without stepping over.
And again, that's where having a good mark already is, by the way, Autumn Hare's previous jump 5.18 meters, so not an improvement there for her. That was Jose, who hits 5.12 meters. Again, not an improvement. If you have a solid mark in the books, you can really go for it here now. And for example, someone like Darcy, who's leading the pack right now, 5.45 meters, potentially trying to get into the NCAAs, she can really push it on her last two jumps here, not just try to win a UAA championship, but put herself in the final line here to try to get into the NCAA championships with a good jump. Martin there for Chicago.
Yeah, and 17th right now in the NCAA is 5.57, so she's not far off that mark today. And if she wants to really push it and go for it in these last two jumps, which I'm sure she does, she's got a great opportunity to do so.
That was actually Harris for Chicago, 4.86 meters, so not her best. She'll have one more jump to go. And this is Mary Martin. Nice jump there, looked like. See if they're measuring that. Martin had a 5.29 meter jump earlier. Puts her, I believe, in third place and seems pleased with that one. Yeah, she should be. 5.39 meters. And that vaults her quite literally into second place now behind her teammate Laura Darcy. Rebecca Bondi of Emory, 5.35 meters, now in third. So she's chasing the two Chicago competitors. Don't think that was her best, but I've been wrong numerous times already today, so. Jump there from Bondi. Get another look at that one. I think she knows there that wasn't her best, and it was just 5.05 meters. So she's going to have a little bit to make up. We will stay with the long jump here through the final round of jumps coming up here in just a little bit. And then after that, we'll start showing you some action from both the men's high jump and the shot put, or pardon me, the women's weight throw. Again, we know a lot of you are rooting for both a specific team out there, and maybe even more importantly, a specific individual, maybe a child, maybe a brother, maybe a grandchild, maybe a niece or a nephew. And we are certainly respectful of that, and we want to try to get as much as everyone as possible while also trying to balance the meet out here and making sure that we are getting the most important events as they come up. So we'll do our best to that, try to get everyone a little bit of face time at least here. But right now, the jump here for Darcy, our leader. We'll get a measurement on that. So we'll have one more round of jumps coming up on the long jump. That was 5.25 for Darcy, so she's still sitting on her mark from the early ones of 5.45 meters. So as of right now, it is Darcy, followed by Martin, and then Bondi. Chicago, Emory, final jump. This was Chow of Wash U. Had a 5.16 meter jump. See what that one was. Back to Autumn Hare. Trying to best her mark of 5.24 meters. Track's starting to get a little bit more populated there as Hare under 5 meters with that jump, so she'll be sitting on that mark of 5.24. Jose of Washington University, a jump of 5.2 meters in the early rounds. Again, all these results somewhat unofficial. We certainly invite you to go on to athletics.case.edu where you can find live statistics. Obviously, for the field events, those won't be updated until after the actual event ends. And for field events, that'll take a little bit longer. 5.11 meters there for Jose, so she's sitting on a 5.2 meter jump. This is Harris now of Chicago. 4 more jumps to go. Harris, her best jump of the round, 5.01. Not sure what her best jump of the day was. She's kind of the one question mark right now that I think I missed somewhere along the line here. See what she gets. Boy, Harris might get as much height as anybody on her jumps. She's had a little bit of trouble propelling herself forward, it seems, at times. But the advantage to getting that height, and you saw it there, is that it gives her time to get her legs around her body a little bit, get her momentum going forward. That's 4.97 meters for Harris, so she's sitting on a jump, I believe, in the low 5s. And now our 3 leaders right now in second place for Chicago. This is Martin. 5.39, her best jump. Came her last time up, chasing her teammate. It was 0.06 of a meter behind her, and yeah, shakes her head there. I think she knows that might not have been her best. Bondi of Emory. Last thing that stands between Darcy and a UAA championship. That one was 5.20 meters for Martin. Bondi needs to improve by 1/10 of a meter on her mark, 5.35 meters, to win the UAA. She needs at least 0.05 of a meter to pass Martin for second place in the conference. Here's the jump. Nice jump there. We'll see what the measurement is. And that will be 5.25 meters, and I think that means we have our UAA champion in Chicago's Laura Darcy. And she will get a chance here now for a victory jump, unless, yeah, it looks like that's going to be it.
Yeah, she's probably going to pass on that one since she's already got it locked up. So
Darcy will take her UAA championship with a jump of 5.45 meters. The 2018, again, unofficially UAA champion is Laura Darcy of Chicago. Second place is Chicago's, Mary Martin. And in third place, Rebecca Bondi of Case Western Reserve University. Again, all unofficial of Emory University. Again, all unofficial here. There's Bondi. Well, this will give us an opportunity to take a look at a few other events here. And let's head over to the high jump where Dom Otto just cleared the bar of Case Western Reserve University. I believe he cleared it. I think they're measuring in feet up there. That's 5'11", if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So that's about 1.81 meters.
Leave it to the engineer. We need a sliding ruler for that or something.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a business guy anyway, right? So.
Yeah, this is definitely an angle you don't get very often in track and field. Being able to watch that high jump bar from the side.
You can watch everyone clear it there. It's a very cool look. And another clear there. That one by Jordan Butler of Case Western Reserve University. I believe Matthew Sloan of Carnegie Mellon. And he knocks it off. I'm thinking this is the first jump at the height. That's just a guess based on the number of people that we've seen clear it so far. This will be Kai Fletcher, I believe. Oh, nope, Kai's not up yet. This will be Ted Falkenhayn of Chicago. And he clears it. Now Fletcher ready as we take another look at Falkenhayn's jump. Fletcher, the freshman, he's over easily. What a cool view. That is tremendous.
It's a great view for the athletes to go look at later on, too, when they're gearing up for meets later on in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, very neat. Reid Farber, Carnegie Mellon. Easy jump over for him. Boy, he cleared that by a lot. Here's the look from the side. Yeah, he's got a lot of extra height on there. Farber's someone to watch. We saw him at the Obelisk meet here earlier on in the year. Very impressive.
Yeah, he won that one, and he won that one with a couple nice jumps.
Well, and that was a high-pressure situation for him as well, looking back to that meet. And for those of you who don't know, the Obelisk meet, it's one of the few dual meets you see in college sports, or college athletics, is Andy Bradowich from, pardon me, I was looking at the wrong thing there. That was Charlie Hu of Emory, who is unable to clear. And now Collis McKenzie, leader coming in with a clearance of 1.97 meters this year. I was going to say, though, the Obelisk meet, a dual meet between Carnegie Mellon and Case Western Reserve every year. They go head-to-head. Team that scores the most points at the end, men and women combined, wins the Obelisk, which is, I would guess I would call it a Washington Monument-shaped trophy, probably the best way to describe it.
It's not scored like a typical meet. It won't be scored like this meet at all. It'll be like dual meets you see in high school, and just brings a very different feel to a meet.
And boy, easy clearance there for McKenzie. It's a little bit of a unique form. He's a little bit more arms and legs flying at you than you typically see. It's not as smooth as some of our other jumpers, but he just gets so much height, it's almost irrelevant.
It's disconnected for now, but it'll pop back up once the track event starts.
They'll adjust the mats here as the bar moves up to 6 feet 1 inch. Always takes a few minutes to adjust the mat, or the bar, I should say. Officials over at the high jump today: Ty Morris and Bobby Phillips. Again, this is a pretty complex undertaking. All about requires a lot of officials, a lot of people who are experienced in various areas, especially to do it right. And so many of these competitors are going on to compete in the national meet. You want to make sure you have a first-class staff here. Right, Nate? I mean, you were there last year where, you know, I believe, was it your time at the UAAs that got you into the National Indoor 400, and there were the 200? Well, it was the 400 here.
Yeah, my time from the UAA conference meet got me in for the 400, and then a week later I was able to qualify in the 2. But yeah, as you were saying, you want to have this meet done right so that these competitors can put up good times, good marks, and try to improve upon what they're doing and make it to the national meet. You want to bring the right environment, because conference brings out a different energy and different kind of competitive nature in these athletes.
Yep, and we do want to welcome you all joining us here today. Once again, the 2018 University Athletic Association Indoor Track and Field Championships. And we're just underway here. Events on the track are set to start about 2 o'clock. So we have a little bit of time before that, which is great because it gives us a chance to catch up with all the field events. Right now, again, the long jump has been decided already. It was Darcy and Martin of Chicago taking 1-2. Again, as far as we could tell from our from tracking it, we will get official results here in a little bit. Placing in third was Rebecca Bondi of Emory University. But track events, again, slated for a 2 o'clock start with the hurdles, and we'll again, bring you coverage of all that, but this is a great opportunity for us to take a look at some events that maybe don't get as much attention always. And here with the high jump going on now, certainly all the eyes on the high jump here. And this will be Will Ackerman of Chicago. First attempt at 6'1", and not a problem there for Ackerman. See a little bit of a wobble in the bar as he went over it, but nothing to knock it off. Next up, William Lee of NYU. Lee, the reigning UAA champion, can't get over there, though. He's currently second in the UAA. And, yeah, just jumped a little late. Right into the bar. So, have to nail down that timing a little bit. Dom Otto. Case Western Reserve up. And Otto knocks it over. It looked like he took a misstep there. Was a little slow in his approach. And boy, he almost got over, actually, until just couldn't get that leg over. So even with the slow approach there, looked like he would have cleared the bar, but just couldn't whip that leg over. I believe Cameron Smith of Carnegie Mellon. He cannot clear.
Yeah, Cameron has a little bit of a unique approach. You'll see most of these guys walk up to a very specific set mark, and he starts at a mark, but he runs into it a little bit more than most. You can watch it here with Jordan Butler. He's going to start at a mark and take off directly towards the bar, whereas Jordan takes some more bounding steps.
Here goes Butler, the freshman, and he knocks the bar over. So competitors struggling a little bit more with this height. Yeah, Butler couldn't drag his backside over that one. Early results from the weight throw here, which we'll go to in a little bit, but we have Nimi Gupta with a throw of 4.58 meters for Case Western Reserve. We'll stay here with the high jump for a little bit longer, as Matthew Sloan from Carnegie Mellon knocks the bar down. Ted Falkenhayn, University of Chicago, next up at 6'1". We see our competitors struggling a little bit more. And unable to keep the bar atop the perch there. Yeah, momentum carried him into it. Kai Fletcher. And he knocks it down. Kai, so raw for Case Western Reserve. He's relatively new to, competing in college track. Was supposed to be a basketball player here, but ended up switching over to track and field. The raw athletic ability just off the charts. But we saw it a little bit in the meet, again in the Obelisk meet, and he did this, I believe, the following week as well as Reid Farber on his jump, and he knocks it down. Where he jumped early, he didn't wait for the official to give him the okay to jump, and that cost him a jump. So he's still learning the sport, learning the ins and outs of it a little bit, but again, potential through the roof for him. Yeah, there's a big growing a growth step, I guess, you have to take in college when you get here and just figuring it out. You're a little more on your own. It's a lot more of athletes coaching each other and helping each other out. And your first few years, that can be a little
a bit of a transition trying to figure that out. 'Cause a lot of times in high school you have a lot of coaches there to help you out with everything.
Collis McKenzie becomes just the second athlete to clear the bar at 6'1", and boy, again, it's tough to have him at anything other than the favorite right now. He is clearing it with a lot of height to spare. So Will Ackerman, our first jumper, and Collis McKenzie, the only two to clear the bar at 6'1". 2 more jumps coming for the rest of the field. This will be let's see. Yep, this will be William Lee of NYU. And Lee, again, a little short on his jump. He's had some trouble there. Looks like picking his takeoff spot. Jumped way too close to the bar there. And that's the second time he's done that. Nate, do you see people typically pass on heights here at this event, or is typically that height high enough that you're going to want to jump it no matter what?
Yeah, you'll see some people pass if they're feeling pretty confident. Some guys.
Otto's second attempt, no good, and takes a tumble off the back end of the mat.
Some guys, if they're jumping really well, feeling really well, they might pass at a height to wait for the next one. But a lot of that just comes down to the athlete. It also depends, if somebody's jumping much higher than everybody else that year, they might not come in until everybody else is finished. You'll see that a lot of times in pole vault.
Cam Smith now. And he can't clear it, so he'll have one more jump to go. Ooh, yep, yeah, he got it with his calf muscle. Second attempt now coming for Jordan Butler. And clears it with ease. Nice jump there for Butler, so he's along to the next round. Good jump by the youngster. And that one falls down. Wasting little time there was Carnegie Mellon's Matthew Sloan. But he will be down to his final jump. What amazing camera views there. You get to see the bar wiggling off on the side there, the bend in the bar.
Yeah,
slow
you really
motion.
get to see the entire motion of these athletes. You'll see with a lot of them, like their ankles are almost under the bar before they kick them up and over.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch and see it from that side. Second jump attempt for Ted Falkenhayn of Chicago. And that falls over, so he's down to his last attempt. 3 have moved along to the next height. Will Ackerman of Chicago, Jordan Butler of Case Western Reserve, Collis McKenzie of Wash U. Second jump here for Kai Fletcher. 2 more to go after him on their second attempt at 6'1". And Fletcher is over. So he becomes the 4th athlete to advance. And he just cleared it. Looked like his shorts brushed the bar. And it was a little wobbly, but stays a frame. Second attempt for Reid Farber, Carnegie Mellon's high jumper. And he's over. 5 across into the next round now. Second jump for Charlie Hu of Emory. And he brushes it with his hip. So we're on to the third jump here. Last chance to clear it, William Lee. Trying to defend his UAA championship in the high jump. Again, I think he's had some trouble picking his takeoff spot on the last two jumps. Has run into the bar, and one last chance for the reigning UAA champion. Bar still at 6'1". Here's Lee. And he clears it. Nailed it that time. And you could see he's got a little bit of a different approach than most. Almost goes over diagonally, and the key for him is getting that front shoulder over the bar. He, again, he tries to almost attack it a little bit more across the bar, and I think that's where he had trouble on those first two jumps.
Yeah, you can see him come most of the way across the bar, and it's looking like he's got to really pull his feet around to miss the other bar standard.
D'Amato, and he is gone. Ooh, I think he thought he got it. And just brushed it with his backside, gave a fist pump there, but he is gone now from the event. Cameron Smith for Carnegie Mellon. 6 across already into the next height. This is Smith. And that will be it for Smith. He is eliminated. Another Carnegie Mellon jumper up. Matthew Sloan. Oh, he brushed it with his hand. Might not have gotten his legs over either, but looks like the hand was what knocked that bar over. This is Sloan. And he is gone.
Yeah, he definitely grabbed that one with his calves or ankles.
Oh, yeah. Looked like he got right underneath his knees. Ted Falkenhayn of Chicago. Falkenhayn, and he's over, and so he advances. Last jumper of the round will be Charlie Hu on his third jump at 6'1". Wastes little time. Emory's jumper will take his attempt but knock it over. And so we have 7 moving on into our next height.